Coming up in the morning edition, the search resumes for persons on board a plane which went down in waters off western New Providence. A former cabinet minister will be laid to rest today, and officials assessing roadworks in the southern Bahamas. It's a Friday and the weekend is here. Good morning to all of you. I'm LaDon Davis and this is the Morning Edition. Thank you so much for waking up with us. You are now looking at a live shot of eastern New Providence courtesy of the ZNS Tower Cam here on Rusty Bethel Drive. And if you are attending the funeral of the Honorable Bradley Roberts this morning, traffic reporter Sieska Adderley has some road diversions you should listen out for. Good morning, Sieska.
Good Friday morning, all. This morning's traffic report, we're coming to you live in front of St. Francis Xavier Cathedral, and that's where the former parliamentarian and cabinet minister, the late Bradley Roberts, will be laid to rest beginning at 11 o'clock. Now, it could get confusing because there are a lot of road closures and diversions as a result, but here to clear it all up for us and give us the breakdown, because it's going to be a busy weekend for traffic police, is Sergeant Crestania Johnson from the Traffic Division. Good morning, Sergeant Johnson. How are you?
I am wonderful. Good morning to you again, and good morning, Bahamas. Well, we know that today we're going to have the funeral ceremony for Mr. Roberts, like Ms. Adderley stated. But what we want to just get to the general public is this. If you intend to attend the service, we ask you to leave ahead of time. We want to highly discourage persons who come in late. This area, this West Street area, is going to be closed to the general public. Any vehicular traffic will not be allowed along this route. So we ask you please to come a bit ahead of time, find some parking and get here so you don't experience any inconvenience. After the ceremony, we're going to be going south onto West Street, onto Meeting Street. We're going to travel west, then we're going to travel north onto Nassau Street, where we'll lay Mr. Roberts to rest.
Okay, now, Sergeant Johnson, another factor to consider is that the road is also very narrow.
Yes.
And so congestion could be a problem as well this morning.
Yes, it is. That's why we've put these road closures in place from 6 a.m. this morning. So vehicles will not be allowed to traverse these areas during this time. The road is very, very narrow. We don't want anybody parking their vehicles in the street, forcing pedestrians to walk in the road. We want this area to remain clear, and we want a traffic calming zone in this vicinity.
Okay, now it is an official funeral, so there is also the possibility of there being a procession from Parliament Square to the church as well.
Yes, it's possible. It's possible, and if that's the case, all of the persons who traverse the downtown area, you need to be advised that you'd have to go into that area ahead of time to do what you need to do, and to please, if you could, get out of that area, get out of that area within a timely fashion.
Okay, now, Sergeant Johnson, apart from today's funeral proceedings, you also have a busy weekend in terms of a lot of events. I know Shawnee Miller-Weibo, I'm sure Charles will talk later about that in sports, but they have the Bay Street Mile going on and a number of walkathons and stuff as well, right?
Yeah, so we're just asking again the general public in that early morning commute, if you're on the road Saturday mornings and you're traveling in the Bay Street area, to please look out for pedestrians. We're going to have walkers on. We're going to try as much as possible to keep them on the side of the street. You're going to see traffic officials assisting them. And we have the Remembrance Day ceremony on Sunday. So we're asking persons, please, it's a busy, busy weekend. If you need to be anywhere in these vicinities of the different functions, so please, please be mindful of persons in the street and other road users.
All right. Thank you so much. That's Sergeant Johnson from the Police Traffic Division, enlightening us on all that is happening, beginning with the funeral service of the late Bradley Roberts that begins here at 11 o'clock and on to other activities. But for more information, also stay tuned to the ZNS network for all of the latest updates, as we will continue to remind you of the various road closures and diversions ahead in the weekend. Back to you in the studio, LaDon.
Thanks a lot, Sieska. And joining us live in studio to tell us how our morning is shaping up is Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean. Good morning, Basil.
Good morning, LaDawn. We have exactly 3 weeks remaining in our tropical cyclone season, and all indications are that we will not have any development over the next 5 days. But outside of our studios, we have partly sunny conditions, very cool temperatures, 70 degrees, relative humidity 93%. We have northerly winds at 2 miles per hour. Your barometric pressure 1,016.0 millibars. That's 30.00 inches, and it is steady. Temperatures around the islands this morning, we're picking up some 75s in Marsh Harbor, Abaco, also Greentold Key, that's in Abaco as well. Freeport at 75 degrees, in the Berry Islands 78, 79 in Bimini, in Harbor Island 78, 78 in Rock Sound, Eleuthera, Artisan, Cat Island, Standing Key in the Exumas, also Camp Space, St. Andros, and Fresh Creek in Central Andros. More 78s in San Salvador and Arum Key in Crooked Island, 79, Clarence Town, Long Island, Ragged Island, Acklands, Betsy Bay, Maguana, Matthew Town, Niagara, all at 79 degrees, and the Turks and Caicos Island a little warmer at 81 degrees. Your boating forecast for today for all areas, northeast to east winds 10 to 15 knots, wave heights 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. High tide 8:36 this morning, low tide at 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And that's going to do it for your first look at weather, the morning edition. Stay tuned. Your forecast for today and tonight is still ahead.
Thanks, Basil. Now on to our top story this morning. Police, Defense Force teams and the U.S. Coast Guard to resume a search this morning after an aircraft went down with 2 people on board last night. It is believed the aircraft was coming in from Florida, but crashed in waters just a quarter of a mile from shore. Assistant Commissioner of Police with responsibility for public safety, Lee Mandelivo, spoke to reporters on the scene.
The police received a report of an aircraft, a twin-engine aircraft, crashing in waters here in the area of Havana Beach. As a result of this, the police launched an investigation. There's our understanding that the aircraft has been located. However, we are unable to say at this time how many persons were in the aircraft or if anyone in the aircraft has perished.
Now, that search was expected to resume at 5:30 this morning, and Assistant Commissioner of Police Delaveau explains why the initial search was called off last evening.
Firstly, we have to protect safety of the persons who are conducting the search. And as you noted, the helicopter was out there for quite some time, conducting aerial search. And so we resumed search very early.
In other news, the official funeral for the late parliamentarian Bradley Roberts will be held today at St. Francis Xavier Cathedral beginning at 11 a.m. The 74-year-old former cabinet minister also served as chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party for a number of years. Family members and other dignitaries viewed the body yesterday. The service will be carried live on ZNS Radio 104.5 FM. Also, Ministry of Works officials conducting an assessment of roadworks in the southern Bahamas. It's all a part of the government's efforts to upgrade the infrastructure on islands damaged during the recent storms. Fern Carey reports.
The road assessment program on Crooked Island and Acklands is being led by Minister of Public Works, the Honorable Desmond Bannister, Director Melanie Roach, and a team of technical experts from the Ministry of Works. To date, the team has examined some $12.8 million worth of roadworks currently underway on Crooked Island, which began shortly after the recent storms. Senior engineer for the Family Islands, David Cox, says the work is nearing completion.
Caribbean Asphalt Products is supposed to be repairing 14 miles of road which were damaged after the hurricane, including seawalls, about 1,800 feet of mass concrete seawalls. Now, he is approximately 60% or 70% completed in his program, and now we've identified some additional scope of works.
The initiative also includes some 1.6 miles of road in Turtle Sound, which is badly in need of repairs.
Now, this road is very important to Crooked Island as it's a main port of entry for Long Key and is also a main thoroughfare for visitors.
The team also examined seawalls on Crooked Island and caught the ferry to Acklands, where they reviewed works to the road and dock in Lovely Bay.
We're looking at the works that have been done and also looking at works that we're going to do as we move ahead. And I see some very, very impressive things that are here in Acklands and Crooked Island that people can be very, very proud of. So being able to come here and see the challenges that are being faced, and also seeing what has been done gives us an opportunity to be able to reassess and make determinations as to where we're going ahead. I think the government of Bahamas has spent over $20 million down here in Acklins, and so we really have to be able to ensure that over the years the Bahamian people get value for money.
This means a whole lot to the community of Acklins on the whole. In particular, from Salina Point, the road is really, really good. Even with the repairs of the seawalls, the drive is better, because I can recall coming here and it takes like an hour, 2 hours to get from one settlement to the next. The community is so blessed. They are happy, they are pleased with the progress.
Now the team is expected to complete their work on Friday afternoon. Reporting from Acklins, I'm Fern Curie, ZNS Network News.
Great story there, Fern. And still to come, remembering our Bahamian World War veterans. That story and more when the Morning Edition comes right back. Welcome back to the Morning Edition. Receiving the appropriate eye care for kids is extremely important if you want them to obtain good grades in the classroom. Optometrist at the Eye Care Center on Soldier Road, Dr. Richard Knowles, told ZNS News recently that there has been an increase in the number of eye conditions among children. Dr. Knowles talked about some of the symptoms to look out for.
Most parents will identify a nearsighted problem with a child right away because they're the ones that will not be able to see the board. However, farsightedness will present with different problems and symptoms, and so we will find that kids will complain about having sight problems or headaches or discomfort in reading or copying things from the board, and they might not really readily be identifiable as per se when they're looking at work, but you bring the kid in, hopefully we'll evaluate them, assess them, and be able to determine exactly what's going on.
Meanwhile, President of the Bahamas Retina and Eye Care Services, Dr. Don Hermans, revealed why it's so important for parents to get their kids' eyes screened and tested.
We have quite a lot of school-age kids that need to be screened more regularly, and to have these general exams done so that we can identify who actually needs to have a corrective error corrected. And in a lot of cases, you may find that there are children who are not exactly performing well in school, and that may be the problem. They're not able to simply see properly.
Every year at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, the world pauses for Remembrance Day to mark the end of World War I, 100 years ago. The Bahamas joins its counterparts in celebrating that milestone. Keisha Bethel sat down with World War II veteran Comrade Cephas Ferguson, and he gave us a glimpse into his time in service.
Comrade Cephas Ferguson, veteran of World War II, from the RAF, aircraft hand, general duty, switchboard operator in the officers' mess. These are some of the assignments that I've had during my time in the RAF. My military number 797075, Cephas Ferguson.
Comrade Ferguson may be 92 years old, but he still remembers his time serving on behalf of his country like it was yesterday. As a tail gunner in fighter jets, he shares his vivid memories of his adventures.
Operate on your stomach, and you keep you in the direction where the enemy is coming from, or coming into you, you keep them off. That's my job.
After his unit was disbanded on September 15, 1915, Ferguson admits that getting back to regular life was not easy.
You gotta learn how to relearn how to walk before you every move you make in the service, you step, and whatever and however. And now you ain't stepping no more. You're walking.
Once Ferguson got the pep back into his step, he became a bishop in the Church of God of Prophecy. His eldest son, John, says that his admiration for his father led him to follow in his footsteps.
I rose through the ranks of the force from recruit constable to assistant commissioner. And I retired after 40 years of unbroken service to the country.
Comrade Ferguson says he is proud of his time in the force, especially because it prepared him to serve his country in a different capacity as a mentor.
Most part of my service, generally my service, military service, and again, now Christian service as a minister, as a pastor. That's why I'm saying I pastored 7 different churches, and all these around now, I mentor them.
On February 22, 2019, Comrade Ferguson will celebrate yet another chapter of his life, his 93rd birthday. To all our veterans, the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas says thank you. Know that we do remember you. Know that we will remember you. For ZNS Network News, I'm Keisha Bethel.
And finally, in this portion of the news, many Bahamians have been diagnosed with various non-communicable diseases, and doctors say the numbers are growing as persons are not adhering to the message of healthy living and eating. Today in this 2-part series, we introduce you to a young woman who believes she has some of the key ingredients to assist with prevention.
I must eat the food that God has placed here for me to eat. So let's eat the godly food. Let's get back to nature.
Herbalist Donna Flowers spends a few hours out of the day in her kitchen creating a mixture of natural juices and snacks for victims of hypertension, hormonal imbalances, kidney disease, constipation, and diabetes. Flowers says she has been mixing natural juices for the past 2 decades and has reaped positive results.
My family and my friends who I normally help with making these juice and snacks and stuff that for, a lot of them who was on medication and stuff like that, they saw results in drinking the juice, and it helps them out a lot. Because some persons who was on 3 and 4 pills, now they down to 1, and it helping them to maintain their ailments.
Shockingly, Flowers revealed that more men than women inquired about the natural juices that cost $30 and up for a bottle. She gave us a breakdown of some of the ingredients used to control a number of ailments.
This is a diabetes juice. I have kale, I have apples, I have mineral water, coconut water. Also, I have in this celery.
During a sneak peek of Flowers' backyard farm, she announced plans to expand her natural juice and snacks business on a larger scale next year and encouraged Bahamians everywhere to eat healthier.
This here helps keep your face nice and clean, your skin, because I notice like a lot of women, they have this kind of gritty face, and you know, their face always look breaked out. This here will heal their skin, because when I was 41, I had a hormone imbalance. My face looked like I had dog minch. I drink this juice here for 6 weeks and I got my face back. See, when you drink these turn automatically into your system into glucose. Everything in this go in the compartments in your body that it needs to go. We can't make it like this, because if 77% of our population is sick, then that means everybody dying out, so only me and a couple other people can be here. So that means the government have to import people here to make up the population. Come on, man, we got to do better. We have to have more discipline so we could heal ourselves.
Stay tuned to the Morning Edition sometime next week as we share with you the stories of a few male customers that have benefited from the Natural Juice brand. Fisher, Teron, Lyndon, and myself, and of course Cindy, we were actually able to sample some of that juice. It was really good.
Which one did you try?
I tried the kidney drink, the one in the
well,
red.
If anybody knows Lyndon wants his free samples, anything. So coming up in sports, we're going to talk about the Bay Street Mile. That's tomorrow morning. I'm getting ready for that. You should have bought me some of those juices for that, because I'm going to need my energy. I have a full day tomorrow, the Bay Street Mile, and then I'm going over by JBLN, some exhibition games for softball.
That story and more ahead in sports.
Good morning and welcome to your TGIF Look at Sports. DeAndre Ayton and the Phoenix Suns had a tough task last night against the Boston Celtics. Ayton and the Suns started out strong, going up by as many as 22 at one point, only to see my Celtics come back and force overtime. The Suns come up short in OT, 116-110. Ayton on 6 for 10 shooting at 14 points and 10 rebounds. The Suns have now lost 9 of their last 10 games and face New Orleans Pelicans on Saturday. Meantime, LaShawn Higgs with a game-high 20 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists to lead the Lady Texas Longhorns last night by Duquesne 78-41. Also in action last night, Nathan Bain had 10 points, 7 rebounds, helping Stephen F. Austin edge Southwest Assembly 68-67. Now coming up tonight, Jerron Cornish and Stony Brook travel to South Carolina, and Charles Bain and Robert Morris taking on Missouri State. Now, like I said, I'll be up early tomorrow. The Bay Street Mile gets underway at 7 o'clock, so I have to get to bed early tonight. Friends, I'm not hanging out tonight. Morning, the gun sounds at 7 o'clock, and Shawnee will be bringing in a lot of our training partners for this special event.
A few of my teammates as well coming now. We have Jason Richardson, the world champion in the hurdles. We have Jeffrey Gibson, who's coming down. We have Natalia Gould from Jamaica, who's an 800-meter runner. And we also have Matthew Hudson-Smith from Great Britain, who's the European champion, who's also coming down as well. So, yeah, it's a few big names that's coming down to run with the kids, and like I said, it's all for a good cause. So,
Race coordinator David Ferguson says not to worry about traffic. The runners will have a safe route.
Traffic control, we have police on the route. We're going to have police along the way. We're going to have cones and barricades along the route, so one lane of the traffic is going to be completely blocked off. So we have a good, safe route straight down.
Getting in shape for tomorrow morning. Come out there, check me out.
In our final look at weather, 3 weeks remaining in the tropical cyclone season, and all indications are that no activities are expected over the next 5 days, and that's always good news. But high pressure collapsing across the northwest Bahamas, as well as a matter of fact throughout the 700 hours, and that means lighter winds. They'll be of the order of about 10 to 15 knots out of the northeast to east right through the weekend. Our forecast for today, mostly sunny and warm conditions, your high temperature around 85 degrees, and tonight, patchy clouds and very nice, 73 degrees for your low temperature. The extended weather forecast for the next 7 days, beautiful weekend shaping up right into the early part of next week, but by the middle of the week, we expect a frontal system to come in. That will bring with it some clouds and a few showers, but most importantly behind that, a nice cool down. LaDawn?
On this programming note, we want to remind you that the official funeral services for the late parliamentarian Bradley Roberts will be held today at 11 a.m. at St. Francis Xavier Cathedral. The service will be carried live on the ZNS Radio 104.5 FM, and the ZNS Hill Thrillers will be hosting a South tomorrow right here on the ZNS grounds. We also want to send our sincere condolences to the Roberts family. And that does it for the morning edition. Thank you so much for waking up with us once again. I'm LaDawn Davis. See you right back here on Monday morning.